So I just want to say, guys, thank you for watching my video. I didn't expect it to garner views the way it did because it was very sporadic and all over the place like usual. But I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you that watched my video. I think I'm a little nervous making this video because every video I make, everything I share, my hope is that it can be understood. I still have so much agony if I'm not understood. If I feel misunderstood, I withdraw and I distance myself. And I'm feeling a little sadness to come up right before I started creating this video, and sadness because I want people to join me in creating more prosperity and belonging in this world. I don't feel a sense of belonging when I'm in spaces, even safe spaces. And I say that I went to this I went to this event yesterday, and the space was loving, kind, creative artists, people who want to create change, environmental change within their environment, within their community. I still felt like I couldn't embody myself. When there's a level of fear with expressing ourselves, it closes the door to invite intimacy to whatever space you're in. And I did speak up. There was an opportunity to reflect on the event, and I spoke, and I was received by some people after the event. Some people expressed their likeliness. Some people expressed their appreciation and of what I said. And that's of course something that I'm open to receiving, that feedback. And I'm like, yeah, thanks guys for listening to me. Sometimes it feels powerful to hold a microphone and just have people look at you. It feels like everyone is forced to listen because of the magnitude of your voice. And I think what I said resonated with a lot of people, and other people spoke, a couple people. And I was reflecting on how there's still fear in us to speak up, and how could we make environmental change within our own community if we ourselves are feeling scared and fearful to express ourselves. In order for us to create change, there's a level of leadership that is required. And leadership has no room for fear of taking up space. And although all those people, all of us, of course it's scary, but this is the first step. You see, first step to create change around us, if we ourselves can be leaders and can express ourselves, it's going to be 10 times harder and a battle to share, get your word across in front of people if we are hiding our true nature, our true expression. And so I had something I wanted to share in that moment when they asked for people to reflect. I felt I had something I wanted to share. So I raised my hand. I raised my hand to show myself, hey, if I want to say something, I will say it. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't have something I wanted to share. We have to cross that barrier within ourselves, because so many of these kinds of events I've been to in the past, there's that fear. There's a marathon happening right outside my building, and I was screaming in top of my lungs. You think that something was happening great to me, and there was something happening to me. There was a level of freedom to express my voice, to be vocal with my voice. There's people cheering, but it's my old cheer. It's not cheer. That's the kind of cheer I was doing. Was it very over the top, a dramatic way of cheering? Yes. However, that's the kind of cheer I wanted. I wanted to be the winners to feel proud of themselves, to feel encouraged, to feel supported. And maybe, hopefully, the louder my scream is, I guess, my cheer is, it can be heard from the runners, all the runners. I don't want to hold back my expression. And the way I'm not trying to hold back my expression is by showing my true expression in the moment. Like this. I'm not someone who's gonna smile in front of the camera much. I'm just gonna show the way I want to express myself in that moment. Especially when I'm recording, I want it to be the way the expression I want to have is true to the way I feel. This event was very inspiring to be around people who I was inspired by. The goals, similar vision of a better environment, of creating community and restoring our relationship to nature, our relationship to sovereignty, to honoring the lands, to recognizing what's growing around us. We've lost that. We lost this human innate nature. It's embedded in us to thrive with the land around us. Not to be dependent, but to be independent, balancing the independency of survival of the just our human body, and balancing the dependency of one another as community. I just recognize the fear yesterday. I recognize the need to close ourselves in. You know, when there's events, our thoughts are always constantly happening, and we all have a thought about some place we went to, some event. So when the host Leah, I think Leah, asked us to, asked us to reflect. Obviously, everyone has their thoughts about it. So why didn't everybody's hands go up? Everyone's hands could have gone up, It's also valid to not want to say anything. However, I think it's also important to see the value in your opinion, in what you have to say is valuable. And I think that if more people saw that what they had to say was valuable, then we would see people expressing themselves more, whether it's through dance or through words. The event ended with a concert, and I was dancing, I was having fun, I actually was vibing with the performance. If I'm not resonating with the sounds, then I naturally feel uninterested in the event, and I don't dance. But when I'm vibing with the performance, I dance. I'm like, That's how it was. And some people are still standing. I do the same if I'm not interested in or not resonating with the performance or sounds. But there's also a level of fear with that too that could happen. And I want to encourage less of that. I want to encourage us to imagine no one else there. If it was just you, in whatever space you're in, what would you do? And that's why I was screaming at the top of my lungs, seeing the runners pass by, because if it was just me and the runners, I would be like, what? Like I was doing just now. It feels tragic a little bit because I want to see that in people. I want to see people look at fear, confront fear, and know that they themselves are more powerful than fear itself. I think about when I make these videos, I don't let fear come in my way, seep in, and let it dictate my creation, my videos. I'm able just to create speaking of creation, I was learning the Siatanka and playing it, and I created a short video and created it and uploaded it to shorts, YouTube shorts. And in that moment of playing, I felt like I was actually creating something. I don't create much, but I think there's room for more creation in my life, creating art. But we're also constantly creating our realities, creating our thinking patterns, thought patterns, creating constant active creation. There was also a sense of loneliness that came up. And this came up, and I've shared this before. Of course, I can message the person right away, because who else am I gonna message besides family? I was sitting outside late last night, observing people, seeing people with their friends, more than one friend, even 3 or 4. I wish I could have that, you know? I've said this before, but it's just, how are people that lucky, you know? How are people that lucky to have more than 3 or 4 friends at a time together in a group? How do they get so lucky? It's just, kind of aggravating to see on the outside perspective. It's just how easy it may seem for people to just have groups of people. Like, how did that even happen? How? Like, how? So I'm looking at these people who have these groups of friends, and I'm just like, I wish I had texts constantly from people. Like, no, yeah, I actually can reply right away. Oh, you know why? It's not because I'm busy. It's actually because you're actually the only text I've gotten the last couple hours or day. You know, that's what I want to say. That's what goes in my head. Like, nobody asks me that, any kind of question, but when someone does text me, like a friend, and it's probably because there's just, I don't know, have a lot of people to text and like busy lives, I think. But like, oh, me, yeah, I'm actually like the only person that texted me, so yeah, I'm just gonna text back right away, because actually I don't really get texts often. Like, who's out there getting texts? Like, come on now. Like, nobody asks, like I said, nobody asked me that, but I text somebody back right away. It's just a friend or something, and then I just don't usually get responses right away from people, just in general. And I'm like, well, am I the only one? who's just getting 1 or 2 texts a day, like what? Like, from one person. And I know my connections haven't fostered up maybe to that point where you text you constantly, but just being able to go out, people, friends, out late, like I never experienced that. I never experienced a group of friends where we've been out late and then constantly just go out late, maybe every weekend. Or it doesn't have to be every weekend, but you know, you just go out with more than one person, 3 people, 4 people. And then you guys have a group chat and you go home and maybe you have roommates that are your friends. And then you have your other friends that are not your roommates, and it's just group chat over group chat, multiple group chats. Like, why do people make it look so easy? Why do people make it look so easy? That's the one thing I just don't understand. I don't understand in this life. I want to say something with astrology, like Pluto's been in Capricorn and it's finally leaving my 11th house, so hey, maybe I'll get lucky, right? Maybe I'll finally, like, these people I've been meeting, I feel like I've been been receiving gifts of networking and connections, because now I actually feel like I'm starting to receive more and more people that can really help me create, yeah. But that Saturn energy in the 11th house, or at least Capricorn's energy, takes a while, you know. Takes a while, takes its time. Yeah, just so I came home last night and I'm thinking to myself, room is always empty, always blank. Yeah, so I guess this video was a referencing connections, creativity. Yeah, I feel like I have more to say. I'm tired now. So yeah, just yeah. I just want like a group of friends of my own, or just people reaching out more, or like, yeah, something like that. Just having other humans reaching out, like just be like, hey, I see you, I'm still acknowledging you from afar, kind of thing. Feels like it's always just empty room for me. Just an empty room. That's how it feels like. Just me. In the waiting room. No one calling my name.